watch us. Perfect timing.
Wow, well done. That was fun.
Bullshit.
What? No. Everything I do is with intention and purpose and
Mark,
plans.
we are having fall-ish too. I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt.
Oh, goodness gravy, sorry.
Oh, was that me?
No,
I
that
got
was
to
me.
see Mark
I got-
this weekend.
My legs are too long.
Oh, you got it all over the collective conversation cards.
no.
Can I have some tissue?
We have so many of these left to get through.
These are all the Shauna tissues.
No, those are the fun.
Oh, they? I got it right.
Anyway,
Yeah, it's fallish.
here too.
And you have like cute purple pants on. I like your pants.
Yes, I do. No one ever sees your cute pants at Virch Church, though.
They do if you're in the band.
That's my that's my number one complaint about Virch is that people don't see my cute outfits.
Yeah, I haven't even worn shoes or
I
boots
have
on
great
camera
shoes.
in years.
I know. Remember that one time we walked into our bedroom and looked at all our boots and we went, "Aw." No one sees these anymore. Anyway, hi, how y'all doing? We've got a big crew in the house. You missed it, but they all gave consent to be on camera, so if you ever want to flip it around
Oh,
and show
sweet.
everybody.
All right.
I don't know how you do that, so I didn't do it yet.
Don't flip that. That is not how it's done.
Can you imagine if I did that?
It is done by hooking up a phone as a secondary camera.
Oh, you really got these coffeeed. I need more tissue.
I know, straight out of a
Great news.
telenovela,
We want
right?
an abundance of tissue.
Does anybody know? Oh, it's
Cover
not
your
gonna
eyes.
focus.
Look away from the camera.
It'll focus on your face otherwise.
It's not going to do it.
Look away!
Right in front
Okay,
of your
anyway. I really would be happy if somebody knows what this is from.
Can I eat your communion donut early?
Anybody in the house? No? All right, sad times. These are sad times.
Great show.
Because it is
Great
the
show.
most underrated television show.
I don't
Of all
understand why it's not everyone's number one favorite
Should be
television show of all
everyone's
time.
number one favorite.
It's mostly because of white supremacy.
Waiting for someone to know.
That's correct.
Did someone just say
Correct.
it?
Someone out there said it.
It's another beautiful day to be
Did you Google it though?
It just makes me so happy. Best character ever written for television. I'm just wiping coffee off of cards. What are y'all doing? How's your day?
If this is your first time tuning in,
It's too late.
We don't know what to tell you.
welcome to Sojourn Grace.
Yes, you're too late.
This is our virtual experience, and we're going to have some music.
Oh my god.
We're going to have some people share moments of gratitude, for we only have 3 of these services left in our organization's life, and so we've got some people sharing virtually and in person. They're going to share what this place has meant to them. I've got a little talk I'm going to give about
going everywhere.
one of our favorite sayings around here, which is, "It all belongs." That has really been a motto during these pandemic virtual years. Years. Literally years.
Weird.
So weird. And here we are.
Did you already mention the Swedish candy?
No.
We have a giant bowl of Swedish candy that we've all been trying.
Provided to us by a giant Swede. Actually, I don't know about the size of the Swede, but someone from our community from
Come here.
Sweden sent us this eclectic
So
bowl of.
sweet.
From across the sea. He traveled so far to get here.
All right.
Yeah, see, you've never loved Virch Church more because as we know it's ending, we don't have anything keeping us normal anymore.
The little bumper on the side, keeping gutter balls out, like the bumpers are off now. So we are in the
They were
gutter.
pretty rail thin to begin with.
Yeah, we were already kind of just
We are
bouncing around.
in the gutter.
No, we're just in the gutter.
All right.
There were rules?
All right. Love y'all. Welcome to Sojourn.
You can hold my hand when you need to let go. I can be a mountain when you're feeling bad. I can be a street light showing you the way home. If you can hold my hand when you need to let go. I want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire
pictures on my wall. Everyone's a little broken, and everyone belongs. Yeah, everyone belongs.
Well, I want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone to stay
On the world,
while we're young and able.
bring us back together when the day is done. Bring us back together when the day.
You sing a song. Job. But everybody's
Fine.
here so they can all chime in.
Yeah, this is a
With
group
us.
project today. Hi. Let's not go as dark as we did last time.
Did we go dark?
It got intense. Listen, we can't make promises. We don't know where you're gonna take it.
Hey, Kate, will you tell Nora yes?
Yes, Nora.
Yes, Nora.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I don't think we'll ever shut that down. If I have anything to say about it, it'll live forever. Because it's part of the whole what I said last week. We are a collective, we are a collective, we are a collective, we are a collective. Okay?
Facebook.
Okay. Unfortunately, we need Facebook to be a collective.
Never mind.
You singing
It's
a song
fine.
about
It
it?
doesn't matter.
She's
Just
singing
keep,
a song
just
about
keep
it.
going.
She sings a song about everything.
It's true. And it's not necessary to stop and talk about it. We could just continue.
All right, let's do the blind choose. I
Okay.
picked a bunch of great cards, and now
Great. So we can't go wrong, is what
can't-
you're
yes.
saying. Whichever one of these I pick, it's going to be extraordinary and coffee scented.
very coffee scented.
No, it smells like paper. I wish. Oh, I really like this. This maybe just like exposes my superficiality that I really enjoy this question. I wish I could spend more money on.
Oh yeah, of course you.
I really love knowing the answer to this question. I love knowing what you would spend more money on if you just had extra money to spend. And like, can I preface this by saying, don't feel pressured to make this deep and meaningful. Like,
Oh no, my answer is tattoos and piercings.
thank you. It does not have to be like I would save the children. Like we know that you are
Oh,
good
we
people.
know you'd save
know
kids
you
if
would
you
do
could.
it. We know you would. But like if you can't, if you just have to spend it on yourself or whatever.
What you
you
gonna
gonna do?
buy?
Mine is perfume. I would buy
Concerts.
a million different little
Me
perfumes.
too, Crystal.
Concerts, yes.
Yes, all the concerts.
Boots.
As it is, I go to too many
100%.
concerts.
Boots. All of the boots.
Food and travel.
Yep. You can yell. They can kind of hear you if you're loud.
A personal vegan.
Cute things for my daughter. It's like dressing a Barbie doll.
Vintage cute.
Did y'all
Kate
hear that?
Spade things for her daughter, which is the best.
Also close. Basically, everything
like a
people say, I
living-
also.
a living
except for this
Barbie.
one. This is not one that I.
No, but I know a lot of people who are with you.
But yay you.
And great. Right.
Yay you. You do you. Oh, I love you, Evelyn. I always forget.
Sneakers
Evelyn's,
and clothes.
YouTube name.
Yep. Sneakers and clothes. Sneakers.
Can we
and
go fund me
perfume.
that?
Boots.
Can we make that happen?
Mercy. All right, everyone, I take it back. Everyone has to be good people, and you have to give your money to Mercy so we can bring her to San Diego.
Everybody donate to get Mercy here for the last Sunday
Return
of
your
Virch.
boots. Themed hotels. Yes. All of the funky boutique hotels. Just travel everywhere. I would go everywhere. Betsy Johnson things. I would buy everything Betsy Johnson's ever made.
I knew there would be a lot of travel, but I do like that there's other.
Benjamin, would you buy microphones? Ben would buy microphones. Keyboards, music things.
It's pretty great. I also like the buy a bigger house so that I can organize and enjoy my myriad of hobbies. That's amazing.
Also food.
I would buy all of the make your house clean itself things, like a robot vacuum and a cleaning service. Yeah.
Less than $200 Messi could get here on the last Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Ben's looking up tickets for you, Merce. Get here.
See, come
Right?
on over.
Yes.
Come on over.
We're all making
Mercy.
plans over here, Mercy.
Come on. Mercy's like, I have stuff to do, you guys.
Mercy's like, I have a life
Leave me
actually.
alone.
Too bad we bought you a ticket.
No one asked you.
You're getting your butt here. You want to come? Here you come.
Do-do-do-do. Come on over, Polly. Come on over. Come on over.
Having a hard time hitting the thing today.
Why?
The button. I don't know. I think I'm at a weird angle.
It's the bubble gum.
It's
Damn
the
it.
bubblegum memories.
Free air.
Do you?
Oh, actually,
Do you, anyone?
I kind of do.
Karen, actually.
We can talk about this later, but maybe there's an option there. Cleaning, yeah, cleaning. I would pay for the cleanings. Really, I'd buy a lot of yarn.
This answer
much
makes
yarn.
me happy. Travel, yeah. Nanny for me, so I can only do the things I want to do for my kids.
You know, in the movies and
I
TV
love
shows
it.
when they like present the children fully dressed to the mother in the morning, and they're just like, "Here are your children. They've been fed and bathed and dressed." And she's like, "Hello, children." And they're like, "Mommy, it's so nice to
Mommy."
see you." That seems, yeah,
Downtown.
yeah, exactly.
Ooh, I like this. This is fun. This makes me laugh really hard, and I think it's probably true for a lot of people.
And lesson.
Just Target.
Unlimited Target.
Joanna Gaines needs to come.
That'd be fun. Just Michelle would bring Joanna Gaines to her home to decorate her home, which I think would be fun.
So we have
She
more
seems cool.
questions about
I'd hang
traveling
out with her.
here to Sojo. So let's just remember to have a conversation later on the Sojo page.
Yeah, we'll talk about that stuff again.
Maybe people can come in early for Friday night's Folk in the Road concert.
It's fun.
Be fun. We'll talk about that in house notes. How about that?
Don't say it, then we have to say it. See, they said it.
House notes?
There's people here now.
It's fun.
You're accountable again.
It's fun. I'm really sorry about your cards.
Whatever. They need to live a little.
They've seen some things.
That's right.
Okay, before we get to our next card, I do have to ask a question. Bubblegum flavored things. ... Ugh. I want to die inside my soul, like deep in there. I want to die at the thought of what Karen
delicious.
just ate. And she's like, yay, happy.
It's really yummy.
Do you want to die at the thought of it, or does it make you happy?
Those
Those are the only two options. There's no road in between.
Death or joy? Take your
Kristen
pick.
just says, no. And Donna says, no. All caps. No. Yeah.
Okay, to be fair, only
Oh, the smell. Something bad happened to me as a child. Every bad
Only in
feeling I have
candy
about
form.
childhood comes up for
I
me.
do not want a bubblegum flavored baked good under any circumstances. Like when they're on Nailed It, they put bubblegum flavoring in the cake. Like why? Why? But in a gummy form. Or jelly bean. I could do a bubblegum jelly bean.
See, as a kid, I loved that, and now I want to die thinking of it. So what happened? What happened?
So bubblegum? No.
Yeah.
Ooh, that would be a terrible accident. You don't think you're using bubblegum
kid
flavored gum,
toothpaste is not good.
toothpaste, and then you accidentally.
But I
do
really
it.
used to
Ugh.
like the bubblegum flavored
Yeah.
medicine when I was a kid. Like that was like the better than the alternative medicine was the one that tasted like the bubblegum.
Yeah.
Making this an official topic and putting it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really important. I'm not going to eat any
Making
more of
it
that, so
official.
I'll eat another thing so I'm not breathing bubblegum at you.
I don't know what happened.
I'm telling you.
I think the answer's just my
These
childhood.
little bubblegum skull things are delicious. Thanks, Sweden.
Thanks, Sweden.
What's the Swede's name?
Camille.
Most things is my answer to this. Something I pretend to know more about than I actually do.
Everything.
Yeah, right. Isn't that just being alive today?
All of the things. That's my whole job.
Wait, you feel like that's connected to like these days? Really?
Because everybody's one
I'm having an experience right now.
Because we can get away with it now, whereas before, like, you would
I
have had
just
to,
don't resonate with this at all. I'm the
would've
first
had
one
to
always to be like,
traverse
I know
many-
nothing about that. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Check me right now in real time.
Yeah, it's
I'll tell you a good story.
We always say.
I feel like most of my jobs require acting like I've got this and I know what I'm doing.
It's true. It's true. I've met so many people who know so much more about it than I do, but I'm the one representing.
But you're the number one, yeah. Yep.
How to be alive. Lord of the Rings.
Oh my gosh, yes. That's amazing.
Well, it's a situation that motivates you to pretend you know more about Lord of the Rings than you actually do. Like, what context is it where the people around you have a high expectation of your knowledge of Lord of the Rings? This
Just
is my
hanging out
question.
with nerds.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I love hanging out with nerds. I'm
too.
just curious if there's like a specific place where, like, at work, are you surrounded by Lord of the Rings fanatics, or like what is the context?
Evelyn, you know a lot about a lot of things. I pretend not to know stuff that I know.
That
I want to know more about
that is the
this.
beginning of wisdom.
I want
right
to
there.
talk about this for a long time. Tell me more, please. This is amazing. Oh yeah, a wealth of trivia that people find annoying. I love people who have a wealth of trivia
You know
that
what?
other people find annoying.
You know what I watched yesterday? Celebrity Jeopardy, which I find I greatly prefer to regular Jeopardy because it's like doing the celebrity crossword puzzle versus the regular one. Like, these answers are easy.
Yep.
They're like, what's a word that begins with A-B that means a big hole you can fall into and never return from? And I'm like, I know 7 words
I
that begin
know.
with A-B.
I
It's
agree.
fun. 10 out of 10 would recommend watching Celebrity Jeopardy if you need to feel smart.
Robert,
Yeah, he's.
I call bullshit.
I smelled it. Yes, when I saw that comment.
False. I know you too well.
That is
That's being
also
human.
the beginning of wisdom.
Yeah, true. Yes. Totally. People think I'm good at computers. 95% of it is just guessing and hitting
He's
buttons.
just
Oh,
rebooting.
I love that. You're
Turning
like,
it off and turning
I've
it
got
back
this.
on.
Yeah, that's amazing. This is what people do when they fix computer. They go like this, and it fixes it.
Look at Shane's picture. That was cute. Oh my.
Yeah, his picture's great.
Yeah, I love Shane's profile pic. Okay, anyway. One more. Just because we don't have many of these left.
Yeah.
At least one more.
I'm not going anywhere.
You gotta go eat pumpkin bread. It will make up for the Swedish things that you know.
I love Swedish things.
I know. I'm official.
Well, okay, we went dark. If I could choose the way I'd die,
Oh, I loved this one. I was
I'd
very
pick-
excited about it.
Oh no.
I could choose the way I'd die.
I mean, don't be boring and be like everybody answering just fall asleep and not wake up. Like, don't
what
do
if
that.
that's the
Pick-
truth?
Well, just pretend it's not. Pick something else.
And on stage, Benjamin. That sounds really traumatic. Traumatic for the audience, traumatic for your wife, traumatic for a lot of people.
That happened with a drag queen last week. Yeah,
On stage,
she was like,
damn.
did a literal death drop.
What? Who's this? Whoa,
A drag queen died on stage last week.
Aww. Wow, Laura.
That's like, was it like?
Aw, I know, right? Aw. Jeremy, skydiving? That's terrifying.
Oh
That would be a really exciting way to go.
my. So many feelings.
Jeremy's sitting here, so we're all yelling at him.
Jeremy! God! I don't know.
Love to, like,
I don't want the knowledge of like that few seconds knowing that you're going to hit the ground. It freaks me out.
I don't.
beautiful view.
Yeah. It's a beautiful.
Because like you could also potentially survive, and then it would just hurt so
Playing
much.
soccer. How do you die playing soccer?
What?
Oh, somebody put my answer. Where'd it go? Oh, it's Shauna. Hi, Shauna. That was my answer too. Yeah, me too. Same as these. I don't care where I'm hiking. I just want to be hiking somewhere.
In the wilderness.
I want to go on like a crazy, like, can you believe she did that? And then we're like, Kate never came back.
I'm not going hiking with you. I'm not going on stage with him. I'm not going skydiving with Jeremy. All y'all are just trying to do a trauma.
Aw. I don't know if that's possible.
I like fat and youngish on wine and pasta in Italy. I'm on team this. This sounds good.
This is pretty great. This is pretty great. Oh, yeah, I agree. Like, you're like trying to feel bad, but it's really funny. Yep.
Killed my Sasquatch, thereby proving. That's a way, like, you will be remembered.
I will not have died in vain.
You will not have died in vain.
Y'all are my favorite. I knew this was gonna be great.
Yay! That sounds fun.
I knew this was gonna be great.
Right next to that barn on the way.
Sasquatch?
Kristen, I don't know, but I've seen a lot of crazy stuff happen. Actually,
Oh God!
Ted Lasso didn't like. Was it a dog that died? Somebody died
Oh
during
yeah,
a soccer game.
kicked
on
the
Ted
ball and it
Lasso.
hit the dog. And then that was sad.
So actually, maybe it's not that crazy.
I
You can die from laughing? How? Please explain this to me.
Well, you pee and then you die from yours.
laugh so hard your heart quits. I really did too. That would have been my answer. I want to die doing something heroic, martyring myself. I want to, be the one which is not my answer anymore, but it would have been for a very long time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's so many ways you don't want to die.
That's
but
me.
Like,
That's
like
all I can
flipping
think
it.
about. Like, I definitely don't want to die in a car.
Yeah, I don't want to die in a car.
I'm very freaked out about cars. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Pasta sounded nice.
I really want to be able to think about the fact that, like, I know I'm about to die. I don't want a sudden death. I want time to ponder it. Like, I really crave that time on Earth when you're like, well, now's my time.
I think ideally
But I got some time.
Yeah, but I want like maximum a month of that. Like I don't want like years of knowing. Like maximum a month, and I don't want it to be like a skydiving situation where like I find out and then it's scary that like I just want to like know and I have time to do the thing.
This is why the hiking thing. I think if I was just out there and I was like, well, I'm never coming back from this hiking trip, but I'm out here in the wilderness and I've got time to ponder this. And it feels good to me. It feels good to me. Soothing, comforting. Yes, I do believe that this is pretty sojo-y. Mercy.
Mercy's my kind of people. Because that's the first thing I worry about is like who's finding me.
See, I think if I'm pondering it out in the woods, I might purposefully be like, you know what? I'm going to take it all
Let's make this real interesting for the people who come and discover me here. She's got like a weird circle and stuff around her and the whole bit. Yeah, looks like some sort of ceremonial ritual took place. They're like, what happened here?
Thank you. Yes. 100%.
That's what I would like to do. I would like to vanish through. Are we doing? I got.
They're kicking us out of our space, which makes me just lean in and be like, nah.
Okay, so
When I was a child, they told me in heaven we'd all lose the weight of our names. The king and the wanderer sharing a table and all loved exactly the same. We lost the map along the way, decided we knew couldn't stay. Now we're saving the souls we shamed away. This is not the unknown, this is our coming home. Don't fear the turn of the tide, no one here gets tossed aside. Just breathe and lean into the right. Love, this is how you grow, this is where we're going now. When I was a child, I thought that in heaven we'd worship the man who made time. His eyes like a flame, his justice too heavy, with vengeance that never was mine. For lovers and skeptics fear no rod, we burn the thrones of bigger little gods. We're outrunning the lightning and the odds. We'll make heaven our own. This is our coming home. Don't fear the turn of the tide. No one here is tossed aside. Just breathe and lean into the right. Love, this is how you grow. This is where we're going now. Come as you are. You can come to the table. We may not have much, but we've plenty to spare. Nothing we have, not a treasure, a moment means something or anything without you there. Oh, so breathe and lean into the right. This is not the unknown. Oh, don't fear the turn of the tide. No one he gets tossed aside. So breathe and lean into the right. This is not the unknown. This is how you grow, and this is where we're going now.
Sorry, I just need this. That's all. I'll be
Good.
gone.
What about this half-eaten bubblegum skull?
Sure, I'll take that. Thanks.
So, like we've been doing for this these last few services together, we've been inviting people in the community to share what is being called moments of gratitude, a chance to reflect back on our time together, on your experience in this community, and share what it has meant to you and maybe what you're taking from it into your life. And so we've got a few that we're going to read that have sent in via email or Facebook message. And we've got a video one that we're going to share. And then a little later on, we've got some in-person folk that are going to come share. So,
Oh, you're still talking. Sorry.
nope.
I was just gonna take us completely off track because it's what I do. But there's a whole group that's texting each other about how they want Ben's shirt, and I just gotta say that I always want Ben's shirts. So.
Target.
And they're always from Target. So just go to Target and get Ben's shirts. Sorry, Colby.
No, I like shirts. I'm always here for shirt conversation. All right. Why don't you read this first one?
Is somebody else scrolling it or am
I got it.
scrolling
Yeah,
it?
no,
Okay.
I got it.
Colby and Kate, there is no space for telling you two how you truly changed my life by helping me change my thinking about so many things. You appeared on Sundays at your sweet little house in North Park just when I needed you, when so many of us needed you. Sorry, but my kids were tiny in that house, and I just can't. Anyway, when so many of us needed you, you've done what God sent you to do, and it's unknown where else you might be assigned. For starters, you cleared up my confusion about Jesus being real or my conception of fictional story reader to little kids as pictured in my early Catholic readers. Not the church's fault, but hey, he was in a book, so he must be a book character. Some Sundays that you sent out lightning bolts my way, I would summarize in the margins of my daily meditation books. The number one concept that I take everywhere with me is I'm enough. I'm enough. Imagine that. You were able to convince me that that was true. I didn't have to earn God's love. I already had it. I'm a new and improved model since 2014. I was a student just waiting for the teacher. You two done good. Hugs and kisses, Sharon. I love you, Sharon.
This one. I only passed through for a few months back in 2017, but I still talk about the beacon of true spirit the space is in a dark and effed up world. Being in service with you all was a powerful part of my deconstruction, and the small groups that I joined are forever precious to me. Everything that ripples outward from here, each soul that has found a bit of rest here, will continue to make an impact. I know that for sure. Thanks, Elise from San Diego.
So, Joe, I found you during the summer of 2020. What a time that was, huh? I was spiritually homeless, a combination of a banished reject and a courageous runaway. Your passion for wholeness and human flourishing was utterly intoxicating. Your commitment to authenticity and belonging gave me the courage to show up. You gave me a place to belong. You gave me a better story. You will be there every single time I speak of my becoming. Grateful is not a big enough word. So, Joe, I am certain of very little, yet I am certain of this. Generations will experience more love, more courage, more belonging because of you. So, Joe, Kate, Karen, Colby, Matthew, Ben, I love you. I always will. Mercy.
Thank you. And now here's a short little video from these beautiful people. Enjoy.
Hi, Sojo family. We were so sorry to hear the news of Sojo winding down. No, we haven't been there during the pandemic because of the pandemic, but I wanted to tell you how much we appreciated you. You have been our one and only church family ever since these little guys, who aren't so little anymore, were tiny, tiny, including when we first started going. Sebastian was a tiny baby, oh my gosh, and was in a little baby carrier, and he would go to sleep while I rocked him back and forth in the back of the room, while Atticus here, who's now 11, was 2 and would just run around, and nobody minded. You let us just be there. It was so nice to be somewhere where you didn't have to control your kids. So we appreciated that so much. Also, it was a place where we as a family could come together with very different faith backgrounds. I'm a recovering evangelical, and my husband, Aaron, comes from a background of atheism and agnosticism. And so we were able to find a home in Sojourn and find common cause. And the beautiful story that is Sojo, and the belief that everyone is a child of God and deserves to be loved. I will always remember Kate's epic Sunday sermon on an Easter a few years ago, when she described the need for a circle symbol rather than a cross. That was amazing. And then also Colby, one Sunday when my parents were visiting from down south, and were questioning the inclusive message of Sojo, and he handled that with so much grace, and we appreciate that. So I just wanted to tell you all how much we care for you, how much we hope that you are well, and we hope that we will always be, what, remember? Be kind.
Kind.
And what else? And be brave. Thank you.
Wait, don't press it at wait for it to be 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Wait for it to be 2, 3, 4.
Okay, that's it.
I can,
And be silly. That matters too.
Mercy, you got me. And the first words of this song are "Don't cry." So,
So cool. That'll be easy.
do as I say, not as I do. Don't cry, you're mine for forever, for forever. I need you now more than ever, more than ever. Head full of light, sun in my eyes, you make it easy. Don't look away, these are the days, you gotta believe me. When we're lost in a desert night, and we're chasing a paradise, when we can't fight another fight, we're gonna make it.
This life is made for each other, for each other. Cross lines, mistakes, there's no other. Head full of lights on my eyes, you make it easy. Nowhere to go, I'm already home, you gotta believe me. When we're lost in a desert night and we're chasing our paradise, when we can't find another fight, we're gonna make it. You're my oasis, you're my oasis, my oasis, you're my oasis. As I roam through the wasteland, you're the one thing I need. I see you off in the distance. You're my oasis. You're my oasis. You're my oasis. Yeah. When we're lost in a desert night and we're chasing our paradise, when we can't find another fight, we're gonna make it, make it, make it, make it. Lost in a desert night and we're chasing our paradise, when we can't find another fight, we're gonna make it. My oasis, my oasis, my oasis, my oasis.
Hi! Our next moment of gratitude is from people who are here in person. And I get to do whatever I want right now, so I wanted to come up before they come up and say my moment of gratitude for these humans that are about to come up here. Because I can. And because they have stepped into my life and become family, and they will continue to be my family after this place closes. And they are the people that walk into your church, and instead of going, gimme, 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 they go, what can we give? And I wanted to take a moment to say how much that means to me, a person who grew up evangelical and in the fishbowl life, right, of pastors' families and people who are always involved in leadership, where everyone is just watching your life and going, gimme. What can I get from you? I'm not speaking of Sojo people when I talk about that. Y'all know I'm talking about church culture, right? But people like Robert and Michelle come in with such an intentionality of not being that way and seeing us as full humans instead. And so I just wanted to take a moment to say how grateful I am for them. And now they're going to come up and share their moment of gratitude.
Wait. I tried not to knock anything down.
I love you. Yeah. I'm glad you like it. I love you. I'm kind of scared. Sure. You kind of scared of the candy?
I am
scared of the candy. I'm scared. I like that you're joining me in my fear of the...
I wish we called each other and we were twinning, so that's my story. See, I knew this would happen.
These chairs, yeah.
I
have a whole
sat
new
there,
level of respect for you people who have to sit in these chairs on a regular basis.
I sat there and I was like, I'm going over. Like, that's what I was thinking.
Well, it's good that Kate said what she said, because I knew I was going to tear up anyway, so now I'm already there. So thank you. So I have a little prepared statement that I'm going to read. I usually try to be extemporaneous, but today I just wanted to have this, come into this knowing what I was going to say. If I get through it without tearing up, it'll be the first time. So first thing I want to say is I usually give a disclaimer that some of the things I say, I know people have been through trauma in the background where, you know, some of the same sort of words I'm going to use were previously triggering for you. I apologize for that. But one of the things I've loved about Sojo for so many years, Kate and Colby both have helped us rescue some of this language, you know, helped us get it back to the way it was originally intended as words of love and inclusion and welcoming. And so please take it in that spirit when I read what I'm about to read. I was looking back at the beginning, and something came clear to me in the timing that I hadn't really put together before. I initially filled out the contact form and got a response for Colby about Sojo in April of 2016, and that same week I published a post on a blog I was writing at the time. called All I Want in a Church Is. And here are some excerpts from that blog post. All churches claim to have grace. Some even name themselves after it. A Google search for Grace Church comes back with over 100 million hits. It all sounds good, and you can go to those churches for a long time before you realize where the grace is limited. There's a bunch of examples of that, If you love who we love, then there's grace for you. Or if you only deviate from the parts of Hebrew law that we deviate from, then there's grace for you. Or if you are baptized the way that we baptize, then there's grace for you. But there are limitations outside of those boundaries. And to my mind, limited grace is no grace. It smacks strongly of loving only those who love you. So I spent a few minutes in that blog post sharing my vision of a spirit-filled, grace-filled church. I was talking to a friend, and I'm describing the conversation, and she said, I know, right? I'm just not sure that a church like that exists anymore. But deep down in my heart, this is what I wrote back in 2016, I believe that it does. The Word of God assures me that out there somewhere there are former Pharisees and former sinners who have found the true redemption. Somewhere there is a church of all of those people. Somewhere meeting together are all those who have recognized their own imperfections too deeply to ever exclude others for languishing in imperfection, whose faith in their own power is limited by the memory of a time that only a power greater than themselves was able to restore them to sanity. Somewhere on earth, there is an echo of that great church, a multitude from every nation, tribe, people, and language praising God together. I am praying to find that church. All I want in a church is that. So looking back on that timing here is so eye-opening for me because God was in the process of answering that prayer even as I was in the process of writing it. I had called my blog One for Jesus because after so many years of fruitless hunting for a church home where I could find deep soul belonging among other followers, profoundly committed to what Jesus actually taught, I think some part of me had begun to worry that I truly was the only one, and then God gave me Sojo. I've seen it with my own eyes now. I am not the only one. Even if this past 6 years has only been a glimpse, like Nick Cage's character in The Family Man, or like Moses looking from the mountaintop into the promised land, he doesn't get to live there, he only gets a glimpse, but at least no one can deny to him that it exists. The scriptures are full of glimpses. Before she became the mother of Jesus, Mary got visited by an angel who told her all this shit that was going to go down, and how she would live under a cloud of questions, and finally a sword would pierce her heart, and she said, game on. She got a glimpse of what was coming. There were 3 disciples who got taken up onto a mountaintop and saw Jesus transfigured, or Paul writes about getting taken up into the 3rd heaven. They all got a glimpse, and that is my time at Sojo. I don't have to cling doggedly anymore to a stubborn faith that says somewhere out there there must be others like me in a community like how the Bible describes God's kingdom. Now I can say I've seen it with my own eyes. God worked through all of you to give me that gift in answer to my prayers. I got through it.
I hope I'm so lucky. Every single individual that I've come into, I can't. Wow. I'll talk to you. That one makes me cry. It's such a unique and special place. And I have to say, we had given up. And I grew up evangelical. I went to Bethany Bible College. And what a breath of fresh air to find out that this was possible, to find out that all the humans that I love and treasure that's how they feel about them and about you. I mean, every single one of you is just so dear. And every single person I've met, either online or live in church, and all their little people, and they're just, what if I never got to meet them? That would be the tragedy. And when people would ask me where I went to church, I was like, well, you won't believe it. You're going to think it's a unicorn. It's not. It's not. And I never want to go back to feeling like there's nothing where we all belong. And we all do belong. And I can't say anymore because I don't want to cry in front of you.
Still remember that that first time we had a meeting at lunch at the park after church, and prior to that meeting you had sent us an email with the things you wanted to discuss and talk about. And it was a list of, if I recall, it was a combination of like questions kind of about Sojourn and maybe Sojourn's theology and maybe me and Kate's beliefs, and then you shared some of your own. And you know, Kate and I have grown accustomed to those kinds of emails over the years, and it's almost always coming from the place of, we would like to see if this is the place that will work for us, and here are our list of demands. And that was what we were expecting. And as we were pushing kids on the swing and as we got into the conversation, it pretty quickly became clear to us that, oh, this is different. This is you just going like this. Here's us. Would we be safe in your community? Not will your community make it so that it believes the things that we believe, and that now it's like, oh, this is us. Can we be here? And once that, like, that changes everything. That changes everything when we move from a place of this place needs to be exactly what it needed to be so that I can feel like I fit in, as opposed to belonging is granted to all.
That's what I was trying to say earlier about
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant too.
So that, and you've done nothing but lived up to and surpassed that posture that you first showed up with. And the number of times over years that Kate and I have come back to, oh, the Nichols, they give us sanity. They give it, like, we may do a lot of things wrong in running this church, and we have in 8.5 years, but I feel like we've done a few things right. And the fact that folks like you have called this place home and been with us for so long tells me that we did a couple things right. Love you. Okay, so for the last few services here at Sojourn, we wanted to kind of touch on just some of the last final reminders of some things that we've been really trying to communicate for 8 years, and this is our last chance to say them. And so for the last 3 weeks, we've touched on the 3 parts of our name, Sojourn and Grace and Collective. And today I wanted to just do one more talk on one of our favorite mottos around here, which is that it all belongs. It all belongs. And I'm going to start by turning to a parable that can be found in all 3 of the synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And the context is that there was an afternoon where some Pharisees were talking with Jesus, and they asked him specifically a pointed question about fasting. And they said, why don't you and your disciples fast? And they pointed back to like John the Baptist and other people who were trying to live sort of within the confines of the religious traditions of the day. And they said, why don't you fast? Why don't you do the rituals and do all the right things like we would expect a good religious person to do? And Jesus had a particular response to them, and in that response, he told two parables, 2 short ones. One about, well, you wouldn't want to use a new piece of cloth to patch over a hole in an old garment. And then he said this, he said, and you don't want to put, nobody puts new wine into old wineskins. If they did, the new wine would burst the wineskins, and the wine would spill, and the wineskin be ruined. So instead, new wine must be put into new wineskins. And the immediate meaning of this is clear, that wine, well, clear to those who make wine. I do not. So it's clear only because I looked into it. You put new wine into an old wineskin and it expands as the wine ages. And so if you put it into a container that is already cracked and to the max, then as the new wine expands into old wine, then it bursts the seams. And you can now imagine how both the wine and the container have been ruined by it. And so the traditional interpretation on this parable is that Jesus was saying the Pharisaical approach to the Jewish way of life was like an old wineskin, and Jesus was offering a new kind of wine, a new way to be, a new way to think, a new way to live, a new way to engage with the spiritual practices, and so on. And so the old wineskin is no longer sufficient for this new way. So you must ensure that you properly store your wine in the correct container. But here's what I got to thinking about this week. Is there anyone among us who has ever known that our wineskins have gotten old and cracked before they actually are old and cracked? In other words, it kind of sounds like an unreasonable expectation To know in advance that the container that you'd need, and therefore be able to plan ahead to procure the appropriate container for what you somehow will know will be this new wine someday in your future. Like, let's just stick with the topic of religion, since that's the context of the parable here. I'm assuming that if you're watching this now or later on the podcast, or if you're here in the room, then you know well the experience in your life that has happened, probably on multiple occasions, of realizing that the old containers of your religious ideas and practices could no longer contain the questions you have, the doubts that you have, the new beliefs that you are acquiring. Or to say that differently, all of us have left our previous churches, our previous religious expressions, because the wineskins cracked. They broke. They ruptured. We outgrew it. The boundaries that were once safe to us suddenly became restrictive, and we had no choice but to then go beyond it. But none of us, I would wager, I could be wrong, but I'm going to guess that none of us were safe and warm inside these old wineskins. For me, that would have been like ages 17 through 24, safe and warm inside these wineskins, where everything was humming along quite nicely. Our belief system worked. Our faith felt strong. We connected with our religious community, and things just sort of made sense to us. And I just don't think any of us were in that context thinking, you know what? Just in case, just in case my faith changes, just in case my beliefs undergo radical shifts, just in case this community no longer works for me, I'm going to leave this community now. I'm going to go find a new wineskin now, just in case. I don't think that's really how it works, and I know that's not how it worked for me. Instead, it seems like we are in what for a while seems like a nice, safe, adequate container, and then we expand and we bump up against the edges. Maybe it's jobs that used to give us so much life and we love, and now they drain us, or they demand too much of us. Or maybe it's relationships that used to give so much life, and now they seem to hold us back or keep us down. Maybe it's eating habits that over time have brought this level of unhealth to our bodies. Maybe it's addictions that threaten our vitality. Maybe it's political institutions that end up pushing against our shifting personal values. What I'm saying is that growth and transformation happen within the wineskin that we already have, or the ones that we were given. So when we grow, when we expand, we crack or threaten to crack the containers around us. And as I'm sure you know, because you've experienced it, it hurts. The cracking is painful. The breaking is uncomfortable. The experience of your expanding wine leaking out of this old, familiar safety is scary. And there's a sense in which we can look at these narratives and feel like, oh, breaking out of the wineskin, that's a good thing, right? Because then we have freedom and liberation and expansion on the other side. But Maybe sometimes that's our experience. Oftentimes, I think it's like we're trading in the anxiety of the walls that are closing in around us. We're trading that in for the anxiety of the void beyond. Like, I don't know what's out there. A couple years ago, I gave a sermon about the story of Jesus and disciples in a boat, and a storm comes, and Jesus is sleeping. The disciples wake him up, freaking out. Storm. Jesus calms storm, then turns to the disciples and says, "Why are you so afraid?" And I remember being struck by the order of that. Storm, calming of storm, asking of question, "Why are you so afraid?" And I remember thinking, oh, that makes sense, because sometimes the only thing more scary than the storm is the calm after the storm. Because even though the storm is unsettling and disturbing and painful, Oftentimes we at least grow familiar with it, accustomed to it. We know who we are in the context of it. We know the roles that we got to play. And so it's not good per se, but we know it. And so the prospect of healing, the prospect of growing, the prospect of the calm, it's actually really scary. So you can wrap that up by saying that outgrowing our religion, or outgrowing our job, or outgrowing our politics, or outgrowing our relationships, or whatever, it's a painful process where we leave what begins to feel like a trap with no exit, only to discover an empty, dark, unknown void on the other side. This week I was talking with a friend about this phrase, "It all belongs." And he said this to me. He said, for me, when I hear that phrase, "it all belongs," he says, I prefer to think of it as nothing is wasted. He went on to say, because how can we tell people who've endured horrible tragedy in life that it all belongs? We can't, because those things, they don't belong. That kind of suffering and trauma and harm, that doesn't belong. But maybe we could say nothing gets wasted. That because everything is energy and energy cannot be destroyed, then everything that happens or that happened to us can be and will be reused and repurposed. And I think he's right. I think that one danger in saying it all belongs is that we can paper over the most painful parts of life. But that hard thing that happened to you or is happening to you, the job that you lost, the bankruptcy you filed, the loved one who died too soon, the cancer that took your friend, the sickness that's now eating your own body, the marriage that fell apart, the child that broke your heart, the horrific crime perpetrated against you, it's not really okay to say that those things belong. They don't belong. No one wants to hear that they belong, and really no one should even be suggesting that they belong. In the context of ultimate love and worth and goodness, such evil and such suffering doesn't belong. And yet, isn't it also true? Somehow the great paradox is that if enough time passes, sometimes if enough time passes between these events in our lives, there can be these moments where we turn around and look back at what has transpired since the tragedy befell us, and it's not uncommon to see how the new life grew precisely out of the place from which the old thing died. So if we say it all belongs, if when we say this, we also hold on to this idea that nothing gets wasted, might we be able to sometimes see how the hardest trials of our lives become the seeds for our greatest fruit? And I say that, and I also just need to name that not always. I grant that. Not always. Sometimes there maybe isn't really a way to redeem our pain. At least not entirely, maybe. And sometimes it feels like there just isn't enough time here on earth anyway to find such redemption. And I guess this is where there can, for some, and this is true for me, there can be a hope in a kind of heaven or a kind of life after death. A hope that really fully leans into this belief that darkness doesn't get the final word. For me, this is the foundation in the sentiment of it all belongs. That there's nothing in this universe that can ever be outside of God, which means there's nothing in this universe that can be outside of love. When St. Paul once wrote that, quote, trigger warning, God works all things together for good, the church quickly turned it into a bumper sticker platitude to offer quick and easy comfort. But what if he was really just doing his best to name the deepest truth of reality, which is that love does somehow win in the end, that it really does have the final word? And if so, if that's true, then maybe it's also true that there isn't anything that ever gets wasted. There isn't anything that does not ultimately belong, because it will all eventually somehow in some way be brought together in love. So then, to go back to the wine and the wineskins, what if the point here is not to be better, not to be better about making sure that you have the right containers to adequately hold your wine? Because like I suggested, I'm not even sure that's possible. So what if instead we choose to accept that this process of bursting wineskins is entirely normal and to be expected, and that such bursting is not actually a bad thing because even the bursting and the breaking belong. The old wine, it belongs because of course it does. Because we're all products of our past. We all have these inborn characteristics that help shape us, and we all have these early environments that give us a sense of who we are and why we're here. Of course, the old wine belongs. And also, of course, the new wine belongs, because of course it does. Because the only constant in life is change. Transformation is the inevitability of the universe. And the old wineskin belongs, because of course it does. Because we have to start somewhere with something. We are all given these containers by our parents, by our church, by our childhood. This is neither good nor bad, it just is. And the new wineskin belongs because of course it does. Because we need to, when we grow and when we transform and when we heal, we still need to know how to talk about it, how to name it, how to articulate it, how to hold it. And for over 8 years now, Sojourn has been this kind of new wineskin to hold people as they burst forth from their old containers. We've provided a kind of safety and belonging and healing for this. And many people, and we talk about this a lot, many people during their time here, they found the belonging and the wholeness they were looking for, but they also kept expanding and growing, and eventually even Sojourn began to feel like an old wineskin that restricted where it once liberated. And it's been the honor of my life to serve as the vintner for this community. I think I finally figured out my title after 8.5 years. Attempting to help people tend to their wine, to name their wineskins, to identify where the cracks are, to help them make new containers, and to then bless when it was time to move on. And so yeah, the wineskin known as Sojourn Grace Collective is coming to an end. It's true. But if we've done our jobs well, then my hope is that we would look on our time together with deep gratitude and grace, trusting that the ending of one container is not actually a tragedy, but is part of the journey. Painful? Yeah. Sad? Mm-hmm. But also an opportunity for us to find the next new wineskin, the next step in our journey toward wholeness, the next chance to make something new out of the ashes of the old. Because if nothing is wasted, then everything belongs.
Sunday mornings held me in these walls. I can still smell the coffee in the halls. Safe in that place they kept for me. Home in the space of my sure belief. I was taught to give you what I know. Lead you in the way that you should go. Love what remains when I walk away. What do you keep when I couldn't stay? It took years to tie the truth around my fingers, to salvage all these sparks out of the cinders. Turn it over tables for the love I couldn't leave. Little one, here's what I believe. You'll miss what you had. And I will tie all these truths around your fingers, help you find the sparks among the cinders. I will turn over tables to defend the space for you to find your own way. You break what you try to keep. You run away when you're fast asleep. The rhythm and the melody, the silence and the song. Somehow it all belongs. Somehow it all belongs. There'll be grace on grace on grace on grace. There'll be grace on grace on grace. There will be grace on grace on grace. There will be grace. You pray like there's someone there. Learn to bend what you can't repair. God, I hope you rock the boat till the river sways along. Somehow it all belongs. Somehow it all belongs.
Incredible gifts that you've given us, musicians, and these songs that I think are coming soon to a cassette player near you. That maybe we'll be able to. I feel seen, Michelle says.
That's what the kids are doing these days.
So take what you have for communion this morning. I've got the aforementioned pumpkin bread that the Nichols. It's not pumpkin nickel bread. Or is it?
I have the aforementioned donut that Jen and Jeremy brought. And we do have a pile of Swedish candy.
Oh, yeah. With the owls? Are these owls?
They're skulls.
Is any of it chocolate?
Yeah, this plop,
Yeah,
this plop one is.
There's chocolate.
I think they're owls.
No, they're
Try the
not.
plop.
That's chocolate?
Yeah.
Yes. Plop.
Plop.
So appetizing. Plop.
Does it mean something appetizing in Swedish?
It probably does.
Interesting.
Most of them are very
Oh,
delicious.
I read a book
Geisha.
about this.
Yeah.
Gosh, was it a memoir?
Yes, it was.
Oh boy.
I'm with you.
I know. It only takes one. And oftentimes not even that.
I like these.
Let us know in the comments what you have. And as
I'm
you
just gonna eat my donut.
take. This has been one of those really, for me, precious new wines that we have engaged in over the last 8.5 years. The old wineskin was there, are things you have to believe first. There are rituals you have to perform first, and then you can have the tasty piece of stale bread. And you know what? That wineskin just didn't
Tastes good?
Didn't taste good. It didn't work for so many of us, and even the last 2.5 years of pandemic virtual church, we have expanded that container and said, hey, we don't even have to serve you. You can serve yourself. You can remind your own body that you belong, and you can use whatever you have on hand.
It's this one.
Okay?
Oh,
So,
that's the plop one. Plop.
take and eat.
Okay, I'm sorry, a chocolate bar that's called plop.
Exactly.
I get it now. That's
Too much.
disgusting.
Just wait for the
Hey, these are chocolate too.
It's too much sweets.
The geisha things.
Plop. It's really gross.
Those taste like.
Donna, you are really pushing the limits of using your own elements.
That is Scotch caramel.
Water
almond
and
robusta.
water.
That's what those taste like.
I do like almond.
Belongs, baby. It belongs.
Water.
Pretty much just like that.
I'm going to take what you have as your drink, as your cup.
Sus.
May this be your ever needed reminder, if you're anything like me. Some of you might remember this often. I tend to forget it often, which is that there is no separation between you and God. There is no difference between the person you are now and the person that God wants you to be so that you can be connected with God. Like that is, there's no gap there. And may this be a reminder that you were never separated from the divine.
I see Kate. I see Mercy. Sorry. And I see. Here you go.
This goes with the
All right, we've got a few house notes. Well done, everyone. The first is that we do have 2 services left, and we've kind of blown through the 12-person limit on both of those Sundays, but we will make space. So if you want to come over the next 2 Sundays, just please RSVP so that we know what to expect.
Ooh, Lisa, can I know what your tasty cracker is? Because I have this weird obsession with tasty crackers, and I must know.
Tea and a tasty cracker? I must know.
I went to a parrot was made.
I must know.
You guys rewarded him really strongly for that accent. It's weird.
Oh, was that for me? I thought that was for her wanting to know the cracker.
No.
Oh.
Anyway, can I please know what
I
your
take
cracker
laughter
is?
when it's not for me, and then I miss it when it is.
Chicken pot pie. I love chicken pot pie and sweet tea. Oh, that's a combo.
Yeah, so RSVP if you want to come join us. The second thing related to that is, moments of gratitude. If you want to have yours shared, shoot us an email or leave a message on the sanctuary page so we can get that, squeeze that in the next 2 Sundays. And then this is just my personal invitation. If you want to come out on Friday, October 28th, so the Friday of the last weekend, put together a little 4-piece folk Americana band, and we're going to be playing a concert at Grand Ole Barbecue out in Flynn Springs, which is just the coolest barbecue joint in San Diego. Nope, sure wasn't. That is not the one I use when I'm out of the grocery store, faking it. So anyway, yeah, come on out. That's 6 to 8 p.m.
Of
on
course
Friday,
it's from
October
Trader
28th.
Thank you.
All right, that's great. Okay,
Somebody in the room.
for 8.5 years, we have been ending our services with these words, with this call to live a life of bravery because you're a child of God, and
Do you
to
think they
live a
could
life
all
of
squeeze
kindness.
in here?
Yeah, if they want.
Let's be ridiculous. Come squeeze.
If y'all want to come join us for the benediction,
It's gonna be cozy.
I'm excited about it.
It's not coming in, sorry. I have to put this in.
You're doing great. Okay. Perfect.
Why? Because you're tall.
Like our little heads in the corner.
Yay!
This is cozy.
It is cozy.
There's Robert.
Jeremy's an eyeball. Jeremy's eye is on.
Not creepy at all, Robert. It's so
all right, someone lead us out.
Be brave.
Because you're a child of God.
Be kind.
Because
so is everyone else.
Love ya.
Bye.
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 Bye.